Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is from Gaudi Mahalla Panjama. Gaudi Mahalla Panjama, Netr Pragas kiya Gurdev, Param gaye Puran pai sev rahao. Sitala te rakhya bihari, Par Brahm Prabh Kirpa Dhari. Nanak naam japੈ so jeevੈ, Sad sang har amrit pੀਵੈ. Nanak naam japੈ so jeevੈ, Sad sang har amrit pੀਵੈ. A relatively short passage, and in many ways a continuation of the theme in the past few sabads that we have considered, where we have seen that traditional accounts of these sabads relate to Guru Arjan's life, namely the attack of Suli Khan. And in this passage now, the possible interpretation of this Shabad as a thanksgiving offered by Guru Arjan to his predecessor Guru Ram Das, who was also his father, for the recovery from smallpox of his son Har Gobind. It is hard to settle on one side or the other of the conventional reading of this passage, because we have to pay attention to the terms Gurdev, to the terms Sital and Bihari. So let's see how it plays out. The Rahau Pankti is the very first line. Netr Pragas kiya Gurdev, Param gaye Puran pai sev. We've translated it as, my devotion bore fruit. Gurdev, the enlightener, erased my doubts. Param gaye, and the light of wisdom dawned upon me. Netr Pragas kiya. Now the interesting thing is that if you see the traditional interpretation, if you see this Shabad through the lens of traditional interpretation, then Netr Pragas kiya is read as the fact that Guru Har Gobind, when he was a child and suffered from smallpox, that his sight was not damaged, because oftentimes people lost their sight when suffering from smallpox. Now, evidently that did not happen. And so that was a cause for thanksgiving. Gurdev typically is used for the predecessor Guru. So one could assume that this is being addressed. And the second reason that we might want to think of the traditional interpretation is the word Sitala, which is used for smallpox and also for the goddess of smallpox. And the third word, which comes in the following verse, is Bihari, which means a young boy. On the other hand, we have to remember that Sitala has other connotations. For instance, it signifies the quality of cooling, of soothing, of cold water. The idea being that this could stand for wisdom as well. And Bihari is also used as a metaphor for the dweller of the inner space, the self. So given the possible interpretations, this translator has chosen to diverge from the traditional significance on the grounds that it is not consistent with Sikh principles. The idea of propitiating a deity to recover from an illness doesn't seem to line up with the notion of acceptance. So therefore, we've chosen to diverge from the traditional interpretation. And the verse then reads, Sitala te rakhya bihari, par brahma prabh kirpa tari. Now we offer both possible translations. The first one is the non-traditional one, which is to say, the Supreme Spirit, par brahm prabh, who is the dweller of the monastery within, Bihari, has bestowed its compassion and delivered me, Rakhya, from afflictions, Sitala, because that is what Sitala stands for as well, with the cool water of wisdom, again, Sitala. The traditional translation would read, Gurdev, meaning Guru Ramdas, dispelled all doubts and restored the sight of Har Gobind. The Supreme Spirit in its compassion protected the Bihari, the child Har Gobind, from smallpox, Sitala. And in conclusion, which is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, it is about Nanak Naam Jape So Jeeve. Who is really alive? That is the question. Because as we have often said, we are in a dreamlike state. We are not even awake, according to Gurbani. So the Guru says, Nanak Naam Jape So Jeeve. Only those who meditate on the self, who reflect on the self, who try to understand the self, are truly alive. Sadh Sang Har Amrita Pive. Such individuals collectively get together, glorify the self, talk about the self, reflect on the self, and that becomes for them Amrit, the elixir of immortality. They are the ones who are truly alive. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.